So Justin Trudeau is back at it in an effort, I think, to kind of deflect from the whole thing with Trump and Macron and all of the horrible jobs report that came out from November. I think he has to. I mean, from his perspective, he has to do something to get support back up because I'm guessing his support went down a little bit because of that. I mean, it's not like it could get much lower in the West, but I mean, those it wasn't all just Western jobs, so he's got to do something to try and get support back, and to do that, he wants to cut taxes. Now, I believe his official policy is actually it's at the top here. I'll just go to it right now. Um, Cutting taxes for everyone but the wealthiest, which again, I hate when politicians talk like that because it's just classism and BS and it's not even true. But anyways, you won't pay federal taxes on the first $15,000 you earn. Families would save nearly $600 per year. Again, I don't know where he gets that number, and when you factor in the carbon tax and everything, the you're still losing money, and you're still losing a decent amount. Single people would save nearly $300 per year. Again, $300 per year. I mean, the carbon tax is supposed to be like 1,500, like way more than that. So again, the wealthiest 1% will not benefit. And again, who cares about? I mean, this whole going after the wealthiest 1% and all that stuff, it's just BS, and it's not founded in any truth or anything really. But um, anyways, the tweet here also was one of the first things we did. One of the first things we did in our first mandate was to cut taxes for the middle class, and we're doing it again. Our first order of business is to cut taxes for everyone but the wealthiest, so you and your family can have nearly $600 more per year to pay for what you need. And again, I don't know. I mean, almost everyone I've talked to, and when I mean, you go look at the comments in this tweet, the overwhelming majority of people have not had their taxes cut. I mean, almost everyone I know, and when you look in the comments, the overwhelming majority of people have called BS on this, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The thing that they're pretty much doing is that, yeah, we'll give you some crumbs back here, but we're going to jack up the carbon tax because for the to meet the Paris Climate Accord agreements and all these climate change things, you can't even keep track of them anymore. The carbon tax needs to be, I believe, quadrupled. So that's four times more than the already. I mean, the amount it is already is very high. I mean, you look at some of these farmers that have had literally an extra $5,000, $10,000 bills this year because I mean, when you're a farmer, you use a lot of gas and diesel during harvest, and obviously if you have 10, 15 cents of that of every dollar of carbon tax, well, that's a lot of money. So I mean, every farmer is out a lot of money. I mean, everyone who drives a lot is out a lot of money. I mean, everyone, pretty much everyone drives. Even if you're taking public transit, I mean, they still need to use gas. Food prices have gone way up recently in the last handful of years. I mean, because it's obviously driven in. You have the carbon tax. Those companies need to offset their costs. All this stuff. So, I mean, I really would like to hear someone out there who isn't a complete Justin Trudeau leftist partisan that can actually say provably that they've had their taxes cut in the last 5 years. Like, I don't believe it. I don't know anyone who does. I've never heard of anyone who said it, other than people who are already massive net. I mean, I've seen a couple people in the comments say that, oh, I'm a single mom, and thank you. I've had a tax cut. Well, I mean, you're a massive net drain on society already. Like, you don't really deserve any more of a tax cut. And the other thing I'll briefly bring up is this whole hatred of the wealthy. It makes no sense because the whole theory makes no sense. I mean, for more reasons that I can go over, and like whenever I talk, I always just go over stuff off the top of my head, so I always miss important stuff. But nevertheless, taxing the wealthy isn't the secret towards anything. I know the number in the states is that if everyone making over $1 million a year had their taxes doubled, it still wouldn't even pay for the federal government spending. I think it's about 9 or 10 months it would pay for. So this whole tax the rich, it's not a long term solution. Like, they have money, but they don't have that much money. And the other thing too to bring up is that the rich aren't the same people. I mean the billionaires, yeah, but when you look at, I was just reading a book, and when you look at the people in the top 10 or 20%, the majority of them will fall out of that income bracket at some point in their life. And when you look at the people in the bottom 20%, the majority of them will grow out of that at some point in their life. So this whole classism, it's stuff that makes no sense. And the other thing too is that when you have a lot of money, you're very smart with your money, because people, I mean, the odd person does, but the majority of people, you don't just become rich by accident or by being an idiot, but you become rich because you're very good at managing money, you have a very good work ethic, all that kind of stuff. And when you have a lot of money, smart people know that the way to get more money is to invest that money. I mean, people who are, I mean, I heard at work recently, and it was a classic political debate, and it wasn't that heated, but it was heated enough that I was listening. And the one guy was like, he's like, I don't agree with the NDP on a lot of stuff, but why does anybody need to have $1 billion in their bank account? And obviously he wanted to tax it. And the first thing to point out too is that it really bothered me too, because the other guy didn't really know what he was talking about, but he still won. But anyways, the point being is that no one has $1 billion in their bank account. Not even Jeff, the richest man in the world, doesn't have $1 billion in his bank account, for the simple reason that the richest people in the world are rich because generally they own properties, they own shares, all this kind of stuff. They don't have liquid assets in their bank account, so you can't just tax that. And the whole point being is that the majority of millionaires become millionaires through compound interest. They don't become millionaires through working a day job, letting their bank account get seven figures in it. That's not how it works. That's not how they do it. They do it by investing money, by buying properties and having that money appreciate, by, like I say, investing, basically. And so, I mean, the whole thing is that they don't just become rich on accident. And that's something that really bothers me about the left, is that they think that rich people just become rich by accident because they didn't earn any of it or any of that stuff. And the point is that rather than taxing it, because when you tax money from the rich, you give it to poor people. Poor people tend to make very stupid decisions with how they spend their money, with, drinking, smoking, fast food, all this kind of stuff. So what you do is that you subsidize bad decisions, because what you pay people to do, you get more of. I was reading through comments the other day, and there was this guy talking about the carbon tax, and one of the guys were talking, and he's like, oh, it costs so much more for me to drive, and I drive for work. And the one guy's like, well, yeah, that's the whole point of it, is to try and change people's behavior. And then I came in and was like, well, okay, well, then the whole concept of free healthcare makes no sense then, because you're paying unhealthy people for their healthcare, thus you're getting more of it. And that guy, he quickly exited the comment section on that one. But that's the whole point being, is that when this whole tax the rich, is that you're taxing good decisions, because people generally become rich because they've made good decisions in their life. They work long hours, they have a great work ethic, all this kind of stuff. And if you didn't tax as much of their income, well, what they would do with it is they would invest it, in other words, give it to other businesses so they can try and grow their business. That's the other thing that the left really doesn't understand, is that because the people on the left are very greedy on average, they assume that other people are greedy, which is why they want to tax the rich. It's one of their reasons for justifying it. But that's not true, because rich people, they do want to get more money. That's true, but they understand the way to do it is to help other people, thus in other words, investing it. So it's a win-win, because if I operate a small to medium-sized business, I get $10,000 from this rich guy, and it helps my business grow, and in turn he gets a cut of the profits. So it's a win-win. And the difference being is that you can do that, which helps the economy a lot better, or you can have the leftist solution, which let's just take their money and use it for are poor decisions, thus you get nothing out of it because the poor take it, they on average blow the money on stupid stuff, and the cycle continues and you get more of it. And that's why I won't talk anymore about that, but that's kind of why we can never really get anywhere nowadays, is that we have people who just don't understand that stuff. And the last point being I'll mention with the whole Justin Trudeau thing is that they can't cut taxes on the middle class. If they cut taxes on the majority of people, well, guess what? People are going to have more money in their pocket. When they have more money in their pocket, they quickly realize that they don't need the government. They don't need to be as reliant on the government for their day-to-day needs. And when you're not as reliant on the government for your day-to-day needs, well, guess what? You're less likely to vote Liberal or NDP. And I don't believe Justin Trudeau doesn't understand that. I mean, I think he's very. I don't think he's stupid. A lot of people on the right think, oh, he's such an idiot. I think he's just mad with power, and rather than doing the right thing, his way of doing it is the whole virtue signaling route that people on the left tend to take to get their power and to get their wealth. And I mean, Justin Trudeau does have quite a bit of money. A lot of it's tied up in the Trudeau Foundation, but he still has a lot of money. He's kind of doing the same route as the Clintons. Is they don't really have a lot of personal wealth from actually making money the old-fashioned way, but their charity makes a ton of money, and they obviously take a cut of that for themselves. So that's kind of how they do it. And like I say, the left can't do it because the less people that are reliant on the government for their day-to-day needs, the less likely those people are to vote left. Because if you have more than enough money to get by, well, why would you vote for the party that their way of getting elected is to promise this free thing, that free thing, increase this benefit, increase that benefit, bring in this new benefit? It makes no sense from when you actually think about it. So they're not they may cut taxes on the very bottom, but I mean 15 grand, like how much money do you have to be getting paid to make 15 grand? Like that's nothing. Like if I work a full-time job 40 hours a week making $15 an hour, I'm making like 25, 30 if I get some overtime, thousand a year. I think around 25. So I mean it would come out to what, $800 a week, before taxes, 24. Yeah, I mean it's about 30 grand a year before taxes. So I mean, like, you'd have to be making literally like, $10 an hour. I mean, there is some provinces that have pretty low minimum wage, but if you're working a minimum wage job and you have kids, or you're in like your 30s or your 40s, then you've really messed up other aspects of your life, and bailing you out from those bad decisions is only going to encourage more people to make those decisions, and if you have kids, to make them make those decisions as well. And I don't think people who make continually bad decisions should get help. I think people that should get help are the people that temporarily, they just had some bad luck. I mean, the economy's not doing very well. Maybe they got laid off. Maybe they were doing really well at their job. They were working their way up the chain. Maybe they started out making minimum wage, but now they're up to 20, 25, $30 an hour, whatever you want to say. And like I say, they just fell in some hard times, and those are the kind of people that should get help. Maybe you're off work for 2-3 months, you need help paying your bills, and those are the kind of people that should be getting help, not the kind of people that never have done anything to try and improve their work skills, have worked a minimum wage job their whole life. They don't have, they barely graduated or didn't graduate high school. They went to college for some useless degree. Those are the kind of people that don't deserve help. And until we realize that as a society, things aren't really going to change a whole lot, because people's solutions to the problems on both sides, but especially the left, but on both sides, it's just more of the same. It's just double down, triple down, quadruple down. And my question is, when are we going to realize that we have to try doing things radically different if we ever want to change things? So I'll leave it there. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.